Hey detectives, welcome to the crew. I'm Sea Lord Janetta, and this is my Let's Play of Disco Elysium. In the last episode, we talked to some cryptozoologists a lot, but now we're going to go talk to Evrart Claire and see the Union's opinion on our latest developments. Okay, one last thing. Let's see if I can go talk to Evrart Claire. Frankie, it's raining today. Ah, he's back. Not a fishing rod, is it? It looks like a fishing rod, no? Evrart.
Mr. Dubois, every worker.
Is a member of the board?
That's right, Mr. Dubois. I see the socialist democratic fervor now burns in your heart, too. How can I help you today?
Remember that container I asked you about? Turns out there's a mega rich light bending guy inside.
Mega rich light bending guy? Oh my god. How did that get in there?
He's so rich he could get in anywhere.
Damn it to hell, Harry. I specifically told my guys to check all the containers for mega rich light bending guys.
Kim telling me he was there.
There was a guy in the container, but he didn't bend any light. That was in the detective's head.
Honestly, guys, we might be moving all kinds of suspicious things through this harbor, but I won't be caught transporting the light-bending mega-rich. I have a reputation to protect.
Yes, for God's sake, you're a socialist, Evrart.
You're right, Harry. I am a socialist. I'm going to catch the mega-rich guy inside the container and harvest his energy to power the harbor's fog lights.
I'm with you all the way, Evrart.
I shudder to think what you're going to tell me next, Harry.
Not for 1 second did he believe there's an actual mega-rich person somewhere in his container town.
And yet there is. What the hell did I turn off?
What?
Oh, the shady brew. You told me to make it even shadier. I removed the alcohol from it.
Did I? Well done then, Harry. I like not knowing about it, and I'm sure you made the right call. I spend the whole day delegating tasks, and it's a great relief to see people taking initiative. I don't even want to know what all of that means. Brew, shady, alcohol, turned off. I'm gonna let the world surprise me.
Interesting.
Yes, yes. My best men are tracking it down. Some kids saw some other kids running away with it. Some folks said a paranoid schizophrenic might have it. Leads are being checked, Harry. What's that, Harry? You're getting a little pale. Is it the words paranoid schizophrenic and lost gun in one sentence? Don't worry, it's just a lead. It'll probably turn out to be nothing. Great! You want to bounce something off your old friend Mr. Clare, right? Well, let's hear it, Harry. Absolutely, Harry. What's on your...
Alright. He doesn't have anything to say, really, with regard to...
Date of birth generator. You were born in the year 07, in the last year of the commune of Revachol, right before it fell, in the old military hospital on the ground floor, where people usually came to die during a snowstorm. The revolution had about 1 year left to go, and the fires were still burning bright. There were explosions in the blizzard. This was 44 years ago. You are 44 years old. The bloating might never leave your face, but beneath it, you still have some years. You still have some hope.
This is moderately okay, actually. It's not great. You can probably replace this. I don't know if anything I super need to replace it with right now, but yeah. Okay. How long until I get 7 minutes to get Guillaume Le Million. Not long. Okay, so he doesn't really have anything to tell me. I think that I do need to talk the old lady into signing the thing. I think it's not better for her or for Lillian, but it is probably better for the town. And honestly, it's not like her and Lillian are exactly living in great conditions. The place is pretty much, what did Joyce call it? Pornographically poor? Yeah. It is pretty much that. Problem is, where will it go? But I think I can reconcile it in my head, to be honest. Probably should be able to, but what else was I? Let's go check the traps. The old guys are gone. Or, no, there's just one. Remember the other one.
Officer, care to play a game with the lonely old man?
Jelliness is gone from Gaston's face.
Actually, never mind. Wouldn't be the same.
Where's Renee?
The prick is gone.
Oh.
I can barely believe it. But he's really gone.
You were best friends despite the alleged hatred.
He is trying to retain his jolly facade, but the underlying sadness casts a deep shadow over his wrinkled face.
I am literally not stupid enough to ask the first question. May Renee rest in peace.
Yes. In peace.
What do you know about him?
Everything, really. I probably knew him better than... You meant the teacup in the tree, didn't you?
No, I actually meant Renee.
I don't know anything about him.
Teacup? Oh, because of the ceramic armor. Clever.
Bye for now.
Oh.
No, I'm sorry, man. Renee seemed like, I mean, well, I don't think chill would be appropriate, but, no, he was a proud man, clearly, but I don't think we entirely figured him out, so that's unfortunate, but... Traps. Where, one of the traps is right here, right? Yes.
The trap is full of locusts, but they seem weak and unhealthy. A few lie on their backs with their legs twitching. Still, no phasmid.
Our locusts are now starving to death, but no phasmid. Where was the one that was up here? Don't entirely remember. It was like all the way up, wasn't it? Like on the other side of the church here. is.
Just dead and dying locusts, and the slow swaying of surrounding reeds.
Well, I kind of assumed that if any one was going to succeed, it would be the one back at camp. But it would be kind of hilarious if just, like, there really, really, really was no phasmid. It's way more plausible than most of the cryptids she told us about. Like, this one doesn't have supernatural powers, it's just a bloody stick bug. Like, I can understand how that would be hard to find. Oh. That's the bunker window. I see. We were down there.
A few locusts trudge along the wall of the trap. The rest are piled in a heap in the corner. Dead.
Piled in a heap?
No phasmid anywhere.
Tragic. No phasmid. Oh, the quest just vanished, I think. Interesting. Was I supposed to figure something else out about Elena? Maybe not. Well, the traps don't work. Maybe we'll find the phasmid anyway. Maybe not. Okay, so in that case... I need to get someone to sign the document. I'd rather just persuade Isabel to do it. I could definitely also get the drunks to sign it. Work on that. Let me read a brief look at Infra-Materialism. How has it not been 7 minutes? Okay, well. Concise introduction to infra-materialist theory intended for a general audience. You can tell this particular copy spent a lot of time in someone's
The
back
cover
pocket.
of this pocket-sized volume features a swirl of orange, yellow, and green. The title, A Brief Look at Infra-Materialism, is set in an authoritative yet approachable serif font. What an interesting color palette. It's vibrant, yet somehow leaves you ever so slightly nauseated. On the inside jacket flap, you find a brief summary. What is infra-materialism? A highly theoretical branch of Mazovian communism? A collection of mystical ramblings by a discredited revolutionary? Or possibly both? This brief look, TM, introduces readers to one of this century's most fascinating and misunderstood theories in a concise, jargon-free manner.
Okay, so far so good.
You turn to the table of contents. The guide itself is divided into several sections with seemingly esoteric titles like Effects of Plasm on Root Vegetables and Mental Projection and Transference. There's also a brief introduction about the life of Ignis Nielsen,
Okay.
known to his numerous admirers as the evangelist of the revolution, and to his even more numerous enemies as the apocalyptic Shrike. Ignis Nielsen remains one of the most controversial and fascinating figures to emerge in the years of the anti-centennial revolution, second only to Krasmazov himself. During his unparalleled life, he helped guide a revolution in one country and found a new state in another. Along the way, he committed some of the most notorious war crimes in an era famed for its atrocities.
A little of that, this, little
And
of
yet,
that.
his most fascinating contribution to history may be the most overlooked. His theory of ideological plasm, from which his followers and successors developed the school of communism known as Infra-Materialism. If you're like most people, you probably believe that your thoughts reside in your brain, right? Completely backwards. You think with your hands. Always have.
Yeah, I have no idea where most of these thoughts come from.
This sounds more like a question for a psychiatrist. See also a brief look at psychiatry. But let's stick with Ignis Nielsen a moment. As Mazov's devoted comrade and leading theoretician, Nielsen was responsible for developing much of the intellectual foundation of communism. But his interests and speculations were famously wide-ranging. During his final years in exile, he produced, among other things, an early guide to home brewing, instructions for raising revolutionary children, plans for a universal pictographic language, and a detailed materialist critique of Dolores Day's chess strategy.
Of course he did.
A true man of ideas, equal to any of the great DeLorean polymaths. But
Well.
one subject he returned to time and time again was the fundamental relationship between thoughts and matter. We may yet discover, he wrote in his notebooks, that under certain exceptional circumstances, the proletariat's embrace of historical materialism may be so fervent that their beliefs take form in the world of matter as a kind of revolutionary plasm.
Okay.
Stay with us a moment longer. What's more, Nielsen speculated that this plasm, when it becomes powerful enough, might begin to influence the material reality surrounding it. Hence the name, Infra-Materialism.
Right. That's kind of what I thought they were trying to say. So the communists I've found are not merely intellectual, and ineffective. They're also down a straight up, like, conspiracy theory level weird side branch of communism.
Unfortunately, Nielsen passed away before he was able to develop these initial ideas into a full-fledged theory. That work was left to subsequent generations of communist theorists. Building on Nielsen's basic insight, these theorists reached a startling conclusion that a sufficiently revolutionary state might begin to exhibit certain extra-physical effects based on the amount of plasm generated by its citizens.
This makes zero sense.
In fact, many of Infra-Materialism's critics, both inside and outside the communist movement, have said the same thing. That's because this is absolute idiocy, not even worth engaging with.
Yeah, I'll give it a few more pages.
Infra-Materialists divide the extra-physical effects of the revolutionary state by the level of plasm required to achieve them.
Good
At
grief.
the lowest, or first level, revolutionary plasm is believed to stimulate or invigorate matter without altering its essential properties.
Sounds like that business with the turnips.
Precisely, though plasm does more than increase vegetable yields. It may also influence the physiology of revolutionaries themselves. It's also been postulated that plasm may account for the remarkably full and manly facial hair observed on some communist males.
It really
Of
doesn't.
course, infra-materialists argue that revolutionary plasm may stimulate human physiology in other ways as well.
These particular brand of communists are literally some of the most insane people I've ever
Oh
heard
yeah,
of.
we're talking about white-hot communist sex, baby. That's correct. Reports from the revolutionary period claim that the most radically devoted communards were able to engage in vigorous intercourse for up to 8 hours at a time.
I see.
8 hours?
How many drugs
There's
were
no
involved?
way. Your equipment would be mashed to jelly. No wonder the communards couldn't shoot straight. They were too shagged out. Hyper-productive vegetables and ultra-horny communards are fine. But this theory hasn't quite gotten strange enough for you. And on that note, you feel like you've gotten the general idea of infra-materialism, enough to carry on a basic conversation at least. But if you'd like to go even deeper into some of the more speculative aspects of the theory, you could always read further. Of course you want to go deeper. What else are you here for?
Exactly.
The book fits quite snugly into
Keep
your pocket.
reading.
You flip forward a few pages until you come upon a chapter titled Mental Projection and Transference. When a community has achieved a sufficiently high degree of revolutionary fervor, infra-materialists believe that second-level effects may be observed. At this second level, certain hyper-revolutionary individuals may even develop the ability to extend their thoughts into material space and vice versa.
So they're suggesting they can read minds?
According to Infra-Materialist theory, yes. Under suitably revolutionary conditions, that is. It's become something of a folk legend that during their final meeting, Nielsen and Mazov didn't speak a single word, preferring to sit in silence with their chamomile tea, reading one another's thoughts.
Yeah, no.
One of the minor tragedies of the late revolutionary period is that few reliable accounts survive. Much of what we know of the communards' activities during this period come from memoirs and second-hand accounts, some only written down decades after the fact, and of dubious authenticity.
So why do these only work for hyper-revolutionary communists?
Because plasm has never been directly observed, the exact mechanism behind these effects remains entirely speculative. In other words, there's no evidence that any of this mind-reading stuff is real.
Yeah.
Most infra-materialists would argue that the inability of skeptics to detect plasm is simply evidence of their own insufficient revolutionary enthusiasm. There you have it, a perfectly unfalsifiable loop. The theory is impossible to disprove on its own grounds. Meaning, it's hardly a theory at all.
Pretty much.
This should be more than enough for a stimulating discussion. That said, if you're still yearning for more,
I'm gonna finish it so that I can try to talk them out of it.
you breeze through the next several sections until you arrive at the final chapter, titled A Communism Above Reality. When a society's revolutionary fervor reaches the third and highest level, infra-materialist theoreticians have postulated that the laws of physics cease to be laws.
What do they become then?
More like suggestions, according to some of the SRV's leading infra-materialists. Of course, it's impossible to say what exactly happens under these conditions. No known society has ever achieved the levels of revolutionary enthusiasm the theory seems to require. Some infra-materialists have even argued that it might require more plasm than humanity alone may be capable of producing.
They're non-human sources?
In the SRV, there have been attempts to organize certain species of aquatic mammals, as well as a few of the higher corvids.
Look, I'm here for crow-communists.
But
Sounds delightful.
as of this writing, only human beings have demonstrated the intellectual capacity for revolutionary communism.
Has anyone ever gotten close?
There are numerous stories from Samara involving bandits or fascist mercenaries being levitated by farmers from the most ideologically advanced communes. Of course, few of these incidents have ever been rigorously investigated or substantiated. The form of these stories also recalls several well-known Samoran folk tales. In particular, the one commonly known as Clever Oleg and the Flying Magistrate. Among known attempts to channel third-level capabilities, the most well-documented is the curious case of Coalition warship Debutante.
What's that
It
about?
concerns an interesting series of events that took place during the invasion of Revachol. As Coalition forces made landfall, a cadre of Nielsen's most fervent acolytes attempted to compress a Coalition-era static with their collective will.
Sounds like something that would happen in a dying revolution.
According to
And that
communard
worked for
law,
them.
these acolytes positioned themselves at the top of a redoubt just over the bay of Revachol. From that vantage, they proceeded to visualize pinching Coalition warship Debutante between their fingers, a gesture believed to assist in the extra-physical materialization of their thoughts.
Should have used their finger pistols instead.
There's no evidence the communards were equipped with finger pistols, though it's unlikely they would have decisively altered the outcome.
I'm sure it would have.
The acolytes, along with the redoubt, were vaporized in an artillery strike before the process could be completed.
I see.
It's been said, though, that in the weeks following the battle, the captain of the Debutante noted an increase in incidents of crewmen striking their heads on unexpectedly low bulkheads. Of course, colorful anecdotes only scratch the surface of what infra-materialists believe may be possible in a truly third-level society.
What do they think it would look like?
Some have theorized that such a society would be fundamentally unrecognizable, lacking many of the institutions we typically take for granted in advanced societies, including organized governments, financial institutions, and law enforcement. Did that book just say there's no place for you in this future?
Sure did.
Others have argued that people living under third-level conditions will be immune to such infirmities as hunger, disease, and mental illness. In some of his later writings, Nielsen himself speculated about the potential for an extra-physical architecture that disregards the laws of bourgeois physics and instead relies on the revolutionary faith of the people for structural integrity.
That does not seem like a good theory to design buildings on.
Nielsen called it the highest expression of communist principles, a society whose literal foundation is the faith of its people.
Nielsen had gone pretty... How many drugs was Nielsen doing by the end of the revolution?
On the following page, you come across a few black and white reproductions from Nielsen's own notebooks. One sketch depicts a government ministry shaped like a great inverted pyramid, a hectare in width at the top, balanced atop foundations the size of common apartments. Another depicts a leaning tower wrapped in a dramatic helix. The caption beneath it reads, "The Tower of History." Something about that tower looks awfully familiar. Could it be that's what the students were trying to recreate with the matchboxes?
What if people stop believing the buildings collapse?
In the corner of one of the reproduced notebook pages, you can make out the following words, written in Nielsen's distinctive slashing script. A state that has lost the faith of its people has forfeited the right to exist.
Yeah, I
That's
think this
all right,
might be a little
because
too much.
you've reached the end of the book. If you'd like to try something different, may we recommend a brief look at Gradian literature?
Let's put that one away. Okay, so those two communists are complete nut jobs, gotcha. I mean, I kind of knew they were a little bit, but yeah, they're absolutely crazy. Oh good, enough completed by
Guillaume
Guillaume.
Bad news. Guillaume Le Million did not become a cop. In '38, he went on a tour to the Sinyao province in Safre, where he died of autoerotic asphyxiation. His body was found hanging from a decorative dragon tree in his junior suite, amid drug paraphernalia, unwholesome objects, and the Sylvia Trainer single, Wonderland, skipping in the background. And yes, you can take this as a metaphor for Revachol in the 30s, and also as a warning.
Rough. Ah, but all psyche learning caps raised by 1, which is critical. And hopefully soon we'll have Wasteland of Reality too. Takes a while to compress. Now I can have more empathy and more esprit de corps and volition, which we probably really need. Starting with empathy, because I know I need it in order to get the last piece of armor off of Kuno. Okay. So then the plans for the immediate future are, we're going to talk Isabel into signing this thing, even if I have to save scum to do it, but I think if I put different clothes on, it'll help. We're going to turn that into Claire and maybe hopefully get our gun back. And then we're going to talk to Kuno and see if we can get the last of our damn armor. And then we're going to go down and get Ruby, I think. Yeah. Church can wait until after we've got Ruby, I'm pretty sure. But that's going to wait for next time. For now, thank you all very much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. This is Sea Lord Janda, signing off.